So we'll call this the well pump diag flow chart, and it begins by checking your voltage at the pressure switch. And let's say we have, yes, voltage in and out of the pressure switch is correct. Then we move to the question, does the system have a control box? If the system doesn't have a control box, you can skip to a continuity test, but if it does, let's go through this. Yes, the system has a control box. Then we go directly to a capacitance test. And so that would be taking the cover off the control box, taking off the leads to the capacitor, putting your multimeter on it, checking for MFDs. If the MFDs are not in spec, you have a bad control box. If the MFDs are in spec, so the capacitance test is passed, we move to continuity. And this test is done by having the control box still, the cover off. And let's say, no, we don't have continuity at one or more of the wires, then we have a broken wire or a bad splice. If all the wires pass the continuity test, then we move to our ohm test. And if we don't have a proper ohm test within spec for the motor, we have a bad pump. If we do have an ohm test that goes within spec for motor, we need to start looking for an open water line in the house or a pipe break underground or in the well system. Now, if we travel all the way back here and we have a problem with our voltage check, our initial voltage check at the pressure switch, either the in or out is not correct, then we should go to the breaker panel or the disconnect switch at the well tank. And if the switch or the breaker is tripped, that's when we would do an amp draw on one of the wires, preferably the black one is the easiest one. And once we perform that amp draw test, if the amp draw is not within spec, then we have a bad pump. If it is within spec, we need to start looking for a bad breaker or an incorrect wire gauge, which would cause the wire to overheat and trip the breaker itself. On the other hand, if the breaker and the disconnect switch are both on and they're holding, we'll go back to the pressure switch. And if we have a situation where there's no voltage, there's voltage in but not out, we should look to see if the nipple is clogged or there's a bad pressure switch. If we have voltage in and out proper, then we'll start working our way to the well tank. If the well tank does not have the proper pressure when the system's drained down, then we need to charge if it holds air or replace the well tank entirely. If the well tank does pass the air pressure test and has the correct pressure, then we can start making our way to the control box situation here and go through the flow chart again. Now, once again, if there isn't a control box, you can skip the capacitance test and go right to continuity. And this should lead you in 90% of situations to the correct diagnostic for a well system. We're gonna have this chart printed and in a 3-ring binder for you guys to follow in the van. But I thought it was nice to make a video on it. Any questions, let us know.